Hi guys, welcome to another video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like if you enjoy it. We get a lot of people asking us what it's like working with an agency, so we're going to take you along to see our agents, the brilliant Alive Network, and we're going to find out a bit more about what it's like working with an agent as a band, what an agent can do for the band, and also what it's like as a client and why it's better to book through an agency than go direct.
Hi guys, I'm here with Jim and Laura from Alive Network, obviously. What do you guys do? What's your job roles?
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. So I work in artist liaison, mainly band manager for all our flagship managed bands. I think there's about 108 at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of my main priority, just to ensure that everybody's supported as possible, getting as many bookings as possible, and developing to make the best that their band can be.
Yeah, and I'm Jim. My job is applications, auditions, those sorts of things, getting the bands and artists set up. So I started just doing the online applications, reviewing everyone that came through the business in terms of applying as an artist or as a player. And then from there that developed into a partnership that we have with one of the music colleges in the country, BIM. So I started going down to audition students that wanted to look at making a career in the private events industry. So would go down to Brighton and London, audition those bands, and then that's kind of developed into looking after the auditions mainly that we do run when we do run them, as well as day-to-day roles like similarly to Laura, helping support a lot of the bands that come through, especially the newer bands.
Yeah.
And also our fabulous MD looks after a French guitarist called Pierre Bensusan, and I help do his tour. I'd help do his tour bookings whenever he's playing in the UK.
Okay. So in terms of new bands and stuff, do you get the majority through just people send you an email saying we're a band, or do they come mainly from you hosting auditions? Like for us, we saw you host an audition in London, and we were like, let's go and do that and give that a go.
I remember that. I was there then.
That was a terrifying day. But we just kind of did it. We always thought like an agency was something we wanted to do, but we thought we were quite a way off from being able to do it.
Yeah.
But then we saw the audition thing and thought, well, why not? And everybody said that they were up for it, so we did it. And it worked out pretty well in the end. Yeah,
I mean, most of the people we have an online application form. So the majority of people that are on the site come through that.
Right.
Then there's 108, was it, that you said bands that are on the management programme. The majority of the bands that have been on that for say 5 to 10 years came through the normal applications process and then developed a relationship, and then we started helping them on our development programme, which is where we actively manage those bands. The majority of the ones that have been added, say for the last 3 or 4 years, they've been added through the BIM partnership and through a few auditions here and there. There isn't many that come through anymore that kind of come through naturally from the roster itself. It's all bands that mostly it's bands that we go out and audition now from that side. But in terms of just generally on the site, most artists join through the application form that's available online.
Okay. So for bands that wanted to get involved, what would you say is what would be the main criteria? Because I imagine you get a lot of people, without being rude, they might be older and playing old songs, so like old pub rock stuff that think, oh yeah, we can do weddings, and not really geared up for it. Do you have to deal with a lot of that?
We do have to deal with a lot of that, but really the best thing anybody could do that wanted to join would be to invest in some decent promo material, because obviously as an online agency, how you look, how your profile picture is, the main image that clients are going to see before they listen to even any music, that can make or break an inquiry even. So I always think when people, before they apply, if they can have a checklist and make sure that the promo pictures are as good as they can get them. Obviously audio is current, there's also some classics in there, but overall the quality of the audio is bang on. And then obviously a repertoire that kind of suits all ages really.
Yeah.
Not too dated, but then also not too contemporary. You need a good mix. And then I think if we have those things, it's easier for us to see whether there's any potential, and we're going to be able to get you some work.
I think the way that I kind of look at it is that we book for we get about 60,000 individual views of the website every month.
Wow.
Individual customers. I can't remember the exact statistic, but it's about 60,000 potential people coming to us looking for some form of entertainment. So within that, there's probably room for everything.
Yeah.
And we have magicians, we have caricaturists, we have everything whatsoever. So really, when people are applying, it's kind of making sure you don't give us a reason to be able to turn you down.
Okay, yeah.
More than anything else. Like, if I can see that there's something wrong, it's very likely that I'm going to turn it down. Just from a viewpoint of going, well, there's probably 3 or 4 other people that have applied who don't have that problem, whose promo is high resolution, well shot, nicely edited photos, the audio's been recorded well, and it doesn't need to be in the best of situations, like it doesn't need to be in the most fancy studio, it just needs to be done well. It just needs to be well mixed and have a level of professionalism to it. And the same with the video again, as long as it's nicely shot, nicely edited, it's not rough around the edges, it could pass muster in most professional circumstances, then we'll pretty much accept anyone and anything realistically, given reason. So it's kind of, it's a case of not giving us a reason to say, that's not quite right.
Yeah. And I suppose there are things that you can help people out with, like once, okay, that's not quite right, but we'll be able to help you with that.
That's it. I don't think anybody really gets like it's an absolute straight no. I mean, obviously, the one thing that you need is talent. If you don't have that, then it's going to be a no, because, but really, I don't think you've ever given like a straight no to people. It's always been like a not right now, but have you thought about doing this? Or, you've always given advice.
Which is what happened to us,
And that's it, and it's the door's never closed to anybody, of course. And where we can, we try and give as much feedback as possible. Often that isn't as much as people would probably like, but the volume of stuff that comes through is unreal.
Yeah.
So just being able to keep up and try and give people enough justification for why we're not able to take them on at any given time, but still give enough of an idea of what it is that's missing that they can do.
Yeah.
And often it is just production quality. It's about, I'd say 90% of the time it's down to production quality rather than the artist not being good enough.
Right.
But 90 times out of 100 the artist will take it as, I'm not,
like
why are you saying I'm not good enough?
Yeah.
And actually it's just a case of going, well, actually no, that's not recorded very well, that's not filmed very well, this photo isn't taken very well. And look at the profiles, we need all of this stuff to be.
It is quite easy to take things like that personally. From our point of view, we just kind of took the view of, you guys know what you're doing. It's a successful business, you know what you're after, you know what you're doing, you have to put a little bit of trust in that. And take a bit of guidance.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I tend to do say to people, we're not the best musicians in the world. We're just people that happen to be in a job asked to do a particular role. I think people maybe sometimes think we're trying to look down on them and things like that, and it's not that case at all. It's just a case of going, we're competent enough to see where you're going wrong, here's the advice. And again, but often people think it's that sort of...
It's such an emotional business, isn't it,
Yeah, of
really?
course.
And that's one of the biggest problems. I mean, some of the responses I've had, because I used to do applications at the beginning, you would not believe what people say to you
I can well
when
imagine.
you say, no, sorry, but it's that thing where you're only giving that feedback and constructive criticism because you want the band to sell and go ahead and do well. Like, I remember your first audition, there was definitely tons and tons of potential, but there was still little things that we needed to tweak together to ensure that you got to the stage where you're at now. And it's worked, and it's absolutely great. So
you've got to leave yourself open to that and not be so
Yeah.
thin-skinned that you take everything so personally
Yeah.
and think you're getting it right first time. Because
Yeah.
if you're a band coming from like a pub background or whatever, you don't know everything that goes on when you're doing private functions, and even in terms of what PA you need, and you couldn't turn up to 98% of weddings using the back line you would at a pub. Marshall Stack turned up to 11 and oh sorry, we've got an 80 decibel limiter. You wouldn't be able to, there is so much to learn.
But also things change as well, client trends change all the time, and I think we're probably the first point of call to realise that, because we're up in the office
of course,
every day, and we hear about these changes. We have all the stats to see the different trends that go through the motions, and that's why I think maybe being part of a live network is so valuable to a lot of bands, because you're never going to see it at the level we see it, with the amount of clients that hit our website. I think we're working on about 10,000 events a year at the moment. Yeah. And obviously, you're just never going to see that from a band point of view. So it's a real good insight into the market, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry about the neighbours.
I've been trying to kick them out for years.
I think the way to kind of put it into context is the development programme that we have, which those 108 bands are on. It's effectively a programme to create the best bands in the marketplace, effectively. And if we don't look at it comprehensively and don't look at it with the right eye and give those 100 bands the best possible advice, they're not going to be the market leaders.
Yeah, that's it.
As with anything like that, there's sometimes decisions that you need to make as a band or as ourselves as a company that looks after those bands. There's always something that you have to do that's a bit of a compromise, whether it be you deciding on a repertoire, going forward. I'm sure that half the tracks in your repertoire sometimes might not be your first choices. And similarly for us, when we're starting with fresh bands joining that development programme, obviously what we're saying is what you've got is 3 out of 4 things are perfect, and there might be one aspect of it that's not. That's the thing that you need to work on, whether that be your styling, whether that be what repertoire you play, whether that be your lineup itself. It's all meant with the same intention in mind, just to further the whole thing down the line. And obviously on the back of that, we're obviously only talking about a setup phase here, where you're talking about lineups and things like that. After that stage, it's going into doing promotional material, and there's a judgmental eye from the people or recording your audio. There's a judgmental aspect from the people then that after it's all recorded that then listen to it and are the ones that have got to sell it. And those, as you get further and further away from an audition, those people are further and further removed from an emotional tie to you. And you kind of have to appreciate their ultimate goal in getting it out and sold, and what the hurdles they might face further down the line, whether it be, this band's repertoire is too small for us to sell, we can't do this. So the whole development program is designed with it getting to that point as quickly as possible, where someone at the end who's got to effectively explain what it is you do to a client, and then being 100% confident in going, well, this is the thing that I know that I can say is much better than the other thing that we've just got on the general roster.
I suppose we've all got the same goal, really. Whether you're the artist or whether you're the agency, we want to get bookings, we want to provide a good service, and it's
that's it.
So you've got to work together to make that happen.
But then it's funny, isn't it? Because a lot of we always make jokes about how the new bands are, enemies and stuff, but there always is going to be like bands like you, and they're never going to catch up with bands like you, because the amount of experience that like Fraudio have got, the amount of referral work, repeat bookings from people that have seen you play before, like it's just, if we carry on with the development and the promo, and we just keep the momentum going, it's just like a big snowball that just keeps growing and growing. So yeah, that's what I love about my job, really, that it's just keeping things going and making sure that, you know, that it doesn't slide off the hill. Yeah, obviously. But
I think with new bands, what they've got to think about is, which we had to do. You look at that top bracket of bands, and not go, well, we want to be charging that.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's got to be a gradual thing.
100%, yeah.
And it's a very difficult thing to try and get people to do, though, as well. You know, most people see that and go, well, I can play as well as that person. I can do all of that.
Yeah, we're doing the same songs.
Yeah, my technique's better than that.
You
know, I can play drums better than that geezer. And realistically, yeah, maybe you can, maybe you can't. But your business is not anywhere near like theirs. You know, they know how to talk to clients, they know how to sell themselves to clients.
Yeah, the performance aspect is such a small part, isn't it, of the whole service that you
customer
do.
Service, you know. I mean, you can talk about what you guys do in terms of the at-gig photography that you do, the way your social media channels and all those sorts of things, doing something like this as a podcast or a vlog. And a brand new band won't have even thought that was something that you would do as a cover band.
Yeah, I mean, like it or not, it's a business, which doesn't sound very rock and roll, but you've got to compete, and you've got to always be thinking about the ways you can improve. Because like you say, the performance element is a tiny, minuscule part of everything else.
It's so weird, isn't it? Because to clients, that's like the biggest thing, really, or at least what they think is the biggest thing. I think probably what the biggest thing to a client is the service that they receive. But in their head and in their heart, maybe the performance, they just want an amazing band at the special event. But the behind the scenes stuff, like, it's crazy. I always say to my friends, you know, like, the travel, and I often will think, like, on a weekend, oh god, everybody's not even like packing away to get home yet. It's crazy. And then all the admin that comes with it, all the responsibility of the gear, the insurance, testing PLIs,
tax.
It's just
crazy stuff.
Relentless.
Yeah.
And people don't see that side of it. So I think a lot of the young bands are like, I want to, like, you know, play guitar and earn some money. And that's such an understatement of what it is.
But again, you know, it's kind of, again, with new bands and new artists and those sorts of things, it's our responsibility to find the ones that realise that it is that way, or at least find the people that you think are going to be able to cope with all of those additional things.
I guess it's hard finding a band with enough members that have the same attitude, because if you've just got one guy doing it, he's going to burn out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's impossible for one person to take on that whole role, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And play in the band.
Everyone's got to have the responsibilities outside of their instrument.
Yeah.
And usually there's probably in most bands there's often 2 or 3 members that maybe just want to turn up and play. But, you know, again, that could be fine as a starting point, but ultimately if you want to grow, that's again where the development side of it comes in. And as
what would you say is, I'm just interested in being nosy, what would you say your favourite part of being in Fraudio is? Would you say it's the performance, or would you say it's actually the running the business of Fraudio? Because I get the impression that you, probably all of you, or at least you, enjoy the business side.
I think I do, weirdly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I like the performance side, especially if it's a good gig. Like, there's nothing can touch that. It's brilliant. But I'm not complaining, but we do a lot of the same stuff week in, week out. It's very similar sets, you know, and it's great. It's stuff we've had to hone over the years to get it flowing nicely and to make it a good set. But I like the challenge of the business part. Yeah. And I like the fact that we all take part in that. Everybody gets paid the same because we're all doing something. So it's and I like that, and I just like being able to just experiment, try new things, see what works.
Yeah.
You know,
it's weirdly
what
fun.
other things it is.
Well, it's just another form of creativity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see it as business, but ultimately, making a video is not.
It's not hardship,
no.
is it really? It's not. That is a major bonus of the way things operate here. Is that everything's in house. Like even over the last few years, that's become even more so with the photography and everything is just now. It's here.
Yeah.
And it's
his own little
free for us to use, really. I mean, I suppose we're paying for it in a way, but we don't see there's not like an outlay that we have to do like you normally would in a band. And we always get quality results.
Yeah, I think it's great having the studio here and the photography, and we've got Kyle who does all our video production, because it means that people can just nip upstairs if they have a question, or likewise if an agent has a bit of a hard inquiry to deal with, they can just run downstairs, and it really feels like a team effort. Everybody's in the same place during those few days of the studio session.
Yeah, and obviously, promo, you don't always necessarily get it right first time, or you don't. You plan to do one thing in your rehearsals, come to the studio, start recording, and realise actually this isn't as good as we thought it was. Maybe we should just have a chat.
Yeah.
And you can nip upstairs or speak to the engineers or come and grab us.
It happens quite a lot.
And we can have a conversation and go, well, there's these other options. Let's go for that one. Let's hear it. Have a quick listen. Let's smash in. Get on with it, and then it's not an opportunity missed.
Yeah, that is really helpful having that. And we'd come up here like 6 times a year if we could, but we can't. Can we? I think Carl would get a little bit fed up with us.
Kyle would. Kyle's worked to the bone. We've only got he's the only guy that does video at the moment. So if you think of all the bands, like 108 that I work with, and then obviously you're taking on new people all the time.
Yeah, which need promo stuff straight away, don't they?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And obviously
what he
the
does.
studios that it can be hired out.
Of course.
So obviously we get a lot of people hiring the studio for professional work, or
which is great because you've got to keep it running, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've had a lot of. We've had like Martin Simpson in, who's big in the folk world, and people like that recently that have come through.
Smith's been here.
Yeah. But it's a great studio, so
it's great. That's getting more and more, but again, it means Carl is getting tighter and tighter. But he can deal with it. It'll be all right.
This is not going anywhere. Too much work for him to do.
Yeah, I think that's one of the different things about Alive, actually, because there obviously are other agencies out there, but everything from the studio to upstairs with the agents and stuff, it is all such a, I don't know what it's perfection, like all the time from when a band comes in to have their audio.
We're very unique in the fact that like you said, we've said a couple of times, everything is in house. So you get the opportunity to review what we are as a business in control of those things.
Absolutely. So I suppose if you were outsourcing that, it'd just be like, okay, well that's how they record, that's how they video. Until we're going to find somewhere else that does it better, that's just going to be how it is. But when you're doing it yourself, you're constantly striving to make it better.
And obviously everyone within the business, the majority of us are musicians ourselves, and obviously there's an inherent drive as a musician to want to do a little bit better, or maybe it's not necessarily to do better, just maybe have no confidence in yourself, so you're always trying to do something more to develop that side of things. And that goes from the very top, from the MD himself being a musician, recording engineer, and having input, and then other people having input, new people coming in from outside, like the bands that have got experience in those things, and everyone shares that, and ultimately we get to drive that whole aspect of it. And fingers crossed it results in us being better than the competition that's out there, because obviously we're under massive competition these days. From so easy for people to start up their own agency like that, get a website that looks okay, and put there's individuals themselves, I'm sure you've probably met loads of them, that are in 4 or 5 bands, get a website, or call it an agency, and literally it's just their 4 or 5 bands, and that happens all over the place. But obviously the one thing that kind of, as we said, makes us stand out, I think, is all of the in-house stuff that we've got.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had conversations with people, especially when we first joined, and they were like, "Oh, you're with an agency," and that's because they've got pictures of like.
It's got such
know,
a
the,
well. I don't know if
the
it has
music
now. It had
industry.
such a bad rep, didn't it? An agency.
And I was like, but
yeah.
it's all black and white. You know, that they take their deposit, which is their cut, and then everything gets paid back to us. And I said, and the guy who owns the company is a musician, and it kind of seems like he's making a point of you can make music, can make money out of playing music, and he's invested a lot of money in the business and in the studio and everything.
Well, I always tell people that the history behind Alive Network and how it started was Dave, the boss, was in Hipster, who are one of the busiest bands.
Everyone's been in Hipster.
Everyone's been, yeah. It's because I've been going for so long. But Dave was in Hipster. Hipster, it was early days. They started to get very busy, and then, like we were saying earlier, it's a nightmare for any one member in a band to play band manager and do all the admin and stuff. So I think it got to a point where they had to make a decision how we're going to carry on, because we're just so busy and you know, admin's slipping. And Dave at that point made the decision to step out of the performance aspect and become that admin person full time. And then since then, that's when the agency was born, really, because he saw that actually if one band Hipster are this busy, then there's room for other people, other musicians to make the money that Hipster have been making. So I think that's such a unique way to start an agency, and I think all these other agencies that pop up on a fairly regular basis, you know, they might see it as, this is a great way for me to earn money, let's get loads of bands, where Dave saw it completely different. You know, he was in the band, he understood completely, he took a side step so everybody could carry on earning money, and he saw the opportunity for other musicians.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to have changed.
Not at all, and that's why we've got the studio here, that's why we've got everything we need to make bands the best they can be.
Hello there.
Our good friend Kyle. What's your role within the company?
I am Alive Network's Supreme Video Overlord.
It's an impressive job title.
Yeah, well, I gave it myself. I need to have a bit of fun here.
So what's your process? What do you do?
The primary role here is filming live in-session videos. So we get many bands a week coming in, film a live performance, edit it down into a nice usable video which showcases the band. I always liked the phrase, try and create an honest representation of the band. And I tried to achieve that in the live videos that we do here in the studio, and as well, as you can see here, one I made for the lovely band Fraudio when I went to film them live at an event, just to try and represent what they actually do.
Yeah, it's good. I think the videos are really, I think they're probably the most useful thing for a client.
Yes, yeah.
Audio recordings are great, but literally anybody could have done those.
Yeah. With the audio recordings are great, but you know, when you can either stimulate the ears with the audio recordings or stimulate the eyes and the ears with an audio and video. They're a fantastic tool to really display what a band is capable of. So yeah, it's great. Just wish I had more teams, more members of my team, and more time to do more.
I can imagine. Yeah, it gets pretty full on.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So what software do you use? For any nerds out there?
For any of the nerds, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. Been using it for about 10 years. I've tried switching to DaVinci by Blackmagic.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
It's supposed to be very good. It's free as well, so anybody who wants to get into video editing, use that because it is a free download. However, after 10 years of using Premiere Pro, I'm well stuck in my ways. Yeah. Know all the shortcuts, and I can work through it very quickly.
I suppose with somebody that has the workload you haven't got the time to be trying to learn new stuff, and you've got your own particular workflow. And,
yeah, I've got a very strict workflow.
Oh, because when we've recorded videos, you know, we'll do one, and then while we're having a cup of tea, think about what we're doing next. You come down and go, right, done.
Yeah, I like to do that as a challenge to myself. It's great to challenge myself to get the videos edited in the time you're rehearsing for the next track, and also to show you guys results on the day. It's hugely rewarding that you get to see that straight away. I know a lot of video producers make you wait a long time. I don't like doing that.
No, well, it's really helpful for us. It's nice to know that we're not going to be waiting for
forever. Yeah, well, there are some bands that are waiting. I must say now, Happy Hour and Hypersonics, but I do apologise. I was waiting for the footage.
Well, you know, Happy Hour have got an abundance of promo material. They can wait a little bit.
Yeah. I think you guys might be the most filmed band I've done.
Really?
I mean, let's see how many videos I've created for you. Just live in session videos alone. What have we done? We've done 16 live in session videos with you guys. So yes, we've seen Fraudio develop and turn into some cracking musicians. You know, they've come a long way. They were pretty terrible.
They needed to.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, I mean, in the short time we've been involved with you guys, like, even the way this place operates has come on massively in those sort of 4 or 5 years. Like the studio, the video side of it, everything is just the way you shoot. You know, I was having this conversation with Laura earlier. It's like everybody has grown.
Yeah,
Really
we've all grown together, and it's good. That nice growth, and the fact that we all get to grow together is just brilliant.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and then we'll leave the ones that don't grow behind.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of this week's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to tune in next week, where we're going to look at it from a client's point of view. You can find out the benefits of booking a band like us via an agency, and all the support you get going through that process as well. Again, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next week on the Road with Fraudio.